Right, I'm going to try another bit of offset turning now, and this time I'm going to make like a crankshaft type affair. We'll see how it goes. I've got a bit of ash down here. I think it's ash anyway. It's not very uniform, so I'm just going to do this to round to start with.
So I now have got the smooth cylinder and I'm going to mark it out. So I'm going to mark out 4 lines down the length of the cylinder, which will be the 90-degree marks, so that I know where I am for moving it to off center. And then I'm going to mark out the wood in equal sections all the way along, so I know where the sort of the crankshaft sections are going to go.
Right, so I've marked up the lines. I took this one as the control line and extended that down on both sides.
So I've just numbered up the offset points at each end so that I can note which is number 1 and which is number 2, etc. at both ends, just to make it a bit easier. The turning is really quite simple. It's just a question of following the marks and using a parting tool to just move the material within the lines, trying to keep nice, sharp, crisp edges, and you keep on going until you have removed all of the ghost in that particular section. And when you actually check it, you'll see that you've got a completely smooth cylinder that just touches the tangent point of the original main cylinder piece. This is just a test piece, so I'm not doing any sanding, but at this point you would sand that particular part of the crank, as you don't really want to come back to it unless you have to. So now it's time to reset the crank to a different position. In this case I've moved it 180 degrees, still parallel to the bedway. And then repeat the exercise on the next pair of cranks, being careful as it comes round not to knock the shoulder with the side of the parting tool. It's quite easy to do that, and in fact I do that on a couple of occasions. I did this a couple of times while I was turning this. I got the parting tool too close to the crank that's off centre and caught it with the tip of the tool, taking a chunk out of it, which necessitated me going back and fettling it afterwards. Anyway, I'll come back to that later. It's now time to move the axis another 90 degrees and do the next pair of crankshafts. And then time to move it to the final offset position and turn the last pair of cranks. So I'm now going to reset the crank to the various positions where I've knocked it with the parting tool and taken a chunk out, and I'm going to do a detail to mask the mess that I've made. So in this case it's for the crank in the middle. I'm just going to go back in with a parting tool and take out a couple of millimeters, creating a sort of appearance that looks like a shaft and a bearing shell, something like that anyway, just to take out those chunks and make it look like I meant it. And then reset it after that to the next crank which has got some damage on it, and repeat the same exercise. Seems to be working, hiding a multitude of sins. And now just set it central again and finish off the last pair of cranks that are concentric with the main shaft. So I've detailed the end cranks to match the repaired ones in the middle, and then a quick sand up, and job's a good one. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's not even really suitable to be made into a candlestick, but it's something to try. And there we have it. I can think of lots of ways that this could be improved, and it could be worked into a candlestick maybe, but that's another time.